What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned in to B-Boy 45. And you know what? I interrupted that song because it's a very big deal. It's a very big show we have in the Seacrest studio today here at Children's Hospital, Colorado. I've got Maya on the line, of course. Maya, who is
Hi.
on your show today?
Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin!
Yeah.
Woo! Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are so excited to have you. Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I have been wanting to interview you for like 5 years, and
I'm sorry it's so long.
it's okay. I'm so beyond excited this is actually happening, and your work has just like made such a huge impact in my life. So I'm trying not to cry.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to come on.
So my first question for you is, when did you first know you wanted to be an actor?
It's funny. I mean, it's something I'm asked about a lot in one way or another. And I've at a young age, I guess, but I didn't think of it as like, this is what I want to do as a career. Or this is what I want to do as a job. I just knew from the time I was 10 years old that I loved doing it. And I just kind of stayed on that path until, all of a sudden I was going to a performing arts high school. And then I went to college with a theater major. And then all of a sudden I was a working actor. So I just kept going down the path because I loved doing it. And all of a sudden it was my career,
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you're also a singer and dancer. Did you get any formal training for either?
Yeah, I started first actually as a tap dancer when I was 8 years old. And I loved the movie Singing in the Rain. I was a big Gene Kelly fan. I loved all the old school movie musicals as a kid. And I started tap dancing when I was 8, and then started doing theater when I was 10. And then I started taking dance classes all through high school and college. So I studied in all kinds of ballet and modern and tap and jazz, and had voice lessons in high school and college. And started studying when I was pretty young.
Oh, cool. So you had a recurring role in Glee.
Yep.
Did you have a favorite song that you performed as Sebastian?
My favorite song I got to do didn't make it on the show. It got cut from the show. I sang I Want You Back, and I think it's on YouTube, but it didn't air with the episode. But I had fun doing all those numbers, but I just always loved the Jackson 5 as a kid, and I was excited to get to sing I Want You Back.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I remember watching that video on YouTube. So,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I love that version. So
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So you play Barry Allen on The Flash, and sorry, I'm like just at a loss for words. I just can't believe I'm talking with you.
No, you're doing great. I'm nervous. I'm nervous too. I'm always nervous for interviews, but you're doing great.
Oh, thank you. Just The Flash is like one of my all-time favorite shows, and it's helped me through so much. And when I was going through radiation, all I watched was The Flash and Arrow.
Wow.
And so thank you for that. It's it's just my all-time favorite show.
Thank you. That means the world to me. I'm glad I was able to help you in any way.
Yeah, thank you. It just it just always gives me an escape. So, like I said, it was pretty much all I watched while I was going through radiation.
That's really cool.
And so you've now played Barry for 9 seasons. When you've played a character for so long, does the line between you and Barry sometimes blur?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Especially because it's for so long throughout the year. Generally in the past, it's taken us 9.5 months to film a season. So we spend most of our year making the show. And I played the character I was cast when I was 23, and we're going to be done in a month. And I just turned 33. And, so it was formative years of my life, like all of my 20s growing up. So it's while you're, developing and changing and maturing a lot as a person. And for sure, at times it does get confusing. Like what parts of me are really me, and what parts of me am I bringing to the character that aren't really me? But for sure, I mean, it's one and the same a lot on the show, because I try to bring as much of myself to the character as I can. And I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. When it was announced that the upcoming season is gonna be the final season, like I was just crying.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for the new season, but I'm also so sad for it.
No. It's mixed feelings for sure, right? I think we premiere in like a week and a half, I think, the season premieres. So it'll be back on TV soon.
Yeah.
It's definitely bittersweet after doing it for so long. That's coming to an end.
Yeah. So have you had a favorite episode to film of The Flash?
I think a lot of the stuff in season 1 remains the most like the stuff that I'm the most emotionally connected to. I think the pilot, because it's my earliest the first episode, it's my first memories of making the show and getting to wear the suit, and I was still pinching myself every single day, and that pretty much carried through for most of season 1. So also the finale of season 1 is still one of my favorite episodes we've ever made. Just when Barry goes back to and his plan is to stop his mom from being murdered, and then he ends up spending her last moments with her, was one of the more emotional moments for me on the show, and it still sticks with me. And we actually just got to do something that I don't want to spoil too much of, but an episode I was really excited about in season 9, that's towards the end of our season, that really ties back in to all of that in a really cool way. The storyline, I just had to bite my tongue because I don't want to spoil too much, but it ties back in a really cool way to stuff we did in season 1. And those are still some of the most, sentimental episodes for me.
Oh, cool. Yeah. The season 1 finale is, I think, one of my favorite finales of like any show ever.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it's one of my favorite episodes for sure, if not my favorite episode.
Cool. Yeah. And then I also love the musical episode. Like I still watch that all the time and have the music on repeat. So
yeah. I sometimes forget that was an episode of Flash, it was because it was also with, Darren Criss is in that episode, and Melissa, and actually Zach Woodley, who was the choreographer on Glee, also came and choreographed it. So it felt like it was like an episode of Glee almost,
Oh, yeah.
But I always forget that was an episode of Flash.
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge to playing Barry?
I think probably just doing it for so long. And I was as a pretty young and pretty green as far as being a working actor in TV was concerned when I started doing it. And I didn't know what I was getting into, and there was a lot of pressure because I grew up a big Superman fan and a big fan of Christopher Reeve and those Richard Donner Superman movies. And I knew people are very passionate about this type of character. And I think really early on, especially put a lot of pressure on myself to get it right, and to service the character in a way that I could be proud of and fans could enjoy. And I think, just kind of weathering that as I've done this for so long and understanding that I can only bring what I can bring to the character, and I can't, take other people's expectations to heart too much because I can only do what I can do. And, but just also playing the character for so long and having to grow up a lot while doing this, so much of myself and my life has changed over the course of 10 years, obviously, while making this character and making the show. So it's just been I guess it's been fun, but also a challenge just growing up while making this and doing it for so long.
Yeah. To be honest, I was like never a fan of superheroes until the Flash premiered.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, I love the Flash. So yeah.
Have you been watching it since the beginning, or did you join on? Yeah.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And then at the start of at lockdown in 2020, I rewatched it all. Wow. So yeah, and I was also like, I just remember at that time, like I was actually I was so anxious and like having so many panic attacks, but I turned on the Flash and just kind of forget about that and just escape into that world. So
that's cool. I'm glad we could help do that for you. I know we were all, feeling that, especially early on in the lockdown. I was feeling that too. A lot of anxiety and being trapped inside, wondering what was coming next. But I'm glad we could provide some escape for you and some fun.
Yeah. So, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
So, sorry, I just lost my place. So you were in the movie Rescued by Ruby, and I loved that movie. Are you a dog lover?
Yeah, I grew up with dogs. I always had dogs. My mom now has like 7 or 8 animals, I think, at home between dogs and cats. So she always has a lot of animals. But my wife and I and my daughter, we also have 3 dogs of our own. So I've always been a dog person.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my family and I are just such dog people. And so we were crying through the whole thing.
Well, thankfully it's because dog movies can be tough. You worry the whole time if something's going to happen to the dog, but thankfully with Rescued by Ruby, it's a happy ending.
Yeah.
There
was just a new movie called Doggone that my family and I watched, and we were also crying through that and so worried the whole time about the dog. And we were like, there nothing like there better not be any bad thing that happens.
Yeah. That's my first worry whenever I see a dog in a movie. Yeah. Nothing better happened to that dog.
We got our newest dog during our dog now during the pandemic, and my mom has never allowed like any dogs on the furniture until the dog we have now, because we were joking that quarantine broke us. We were like, we need something to snuggle.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Good time to break the rule for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So were there any challenges to playing a real person?
I put pressure on myself a lot and maybe create challenges that don't necessarily even need to exist. And the guy I played, Dan O'Neill, I got to talk to a lot. And it was kind of still during COVID, so we didn't get a chance to meet in person yet. We still haven't. But I had talked with him on Zoom, and I would call him and talk to him on the phone, and got to record some of our conversations. And then I would, practice kind of talking in his voice. And but it is hard playing a character that is a real person, and there's that added pressure of, and a person who's, still alive. It's not like a historical figure. It's someone that, like, he's going to see this movie, and I want to make sure that I do him justice and get this thing right. So there was that added pressure, but it was, Dan is a great guy and was very supportive throughout the process. And he was very happy with the film. And so it was a positive experience. And yeah, I mean, it was, got to do a movie with a dog. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a dog would be just the best co-star.
Mm-hmm. You never know what they're going to do. So you get to react, in the moment to whatever they're doing.
Yeah. So have you ever gotten stuck on a line in a project that you just couldn't remember? And if so, how did you get past that?
I'm like, it happens to all actors, by the way, at some point. But I'm pretty good at memorizing, honestly, after doing Flash for so long, because, it's 5 days a week filming, and anywhere, between 3 and 10 pages of dialogue per day, depending on how much like action we're doing that day. And so you get pretty good. It's like all things, it's a muscle, and I train that muscle all the time. And I'm pretty good at memorizing now. And my background being theater and not film and TV, you can't mess up a line because you're on stage in front of a live audience. So, there's that added pressure of, you got to really know it. So I think a lot of theater actors, I think, kind of bring that to TV and film, where they're off book, they're memorized well before you start filming, because it's just, you're used to doing that. Whereas I think a lot of actors that come up doing TV, they know, like, if I mess up my line, you just kind of go line, and someone says it to you, and then you keep talking. But I think, a lot of actors that come from theater tend to memorize a little bit better.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So do you have any funny or interesting stories from auditions?
Thankfully, I don't have anything like incredibly embarrassing from auditions. Uneventful things. I mean, I'm sure I feel like I'm embarrassing myself at most auditions, but nothing eventful that I remember all that well. The Flash audition, I remember, like, I didn't want to go because I thought I was just wrong for the role. I was a little young, I was younger than the character was described when I was auditioning for it. And I, knew it was a superhero, and I'm a skinny guy, and I was like, I'm not built like a superhero. And he's got blonde hair in the comics, and I don't have blonde hair. I'm like, I look nothing like this guy. I'm too young. So I didn't want to go. And because I was just, insecure and didn't think I'd get it. But I went, obviously, and it ended up being a pretty long longest audition process I've been a part of. I think it was 5 or 6 different auditions over the course of like 5 weeks or so. So it was my first audition, and then a callback, and then a little bit of time in between, and then a couple more auditions, and then waiting for another week or so before I found out I got it. and which was obviously very exciting, life-changing news, but it was a long process. Other than that, I don't really have anything too exciting. I've also been doing this for so long. Most of my auditions over the past 10 years, I just kind of make a tape at home. I film it on my phone and then send that into a casting office. So nothing too embarrassing can happen if you're filming it at home by yourself.
Yeah. What personality trait has gotten you in the most trouble?
So probably my impatience, I guess. I can be an impatient person. Something that I've worked on a lot over the last, 9 years of making the show, actually. But yeah, because you can't be an impatient person in TV and film because most of your job is waiting around.
Oh. Wow. So if you had to pick a song to wake up to in the morning, what song would it be?
I actually do. I'm a big Jason Mraz fan. I've loved him since high school. And it's called Rise, but it's just the instrumental. There's no vocals on it at all. And that is my alarm clock. And it's just kind of a slow build. And I think it's meant to sound like a sunrise. So it's like a calming kind of song to wake me up. But another one that I like, that was actually my wife and I's first dance at our wedding, is another Jason Mraz song called Up. And it's just a fun kind of easygoing song. So if I had to pick one with vocals, it would probably be that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I'd have to pick, there's a song called Don't You Worry by a singer named Mark Amber.
Okay.
That
check it out.
I'm just obsessed with that song, and I put it on like whenever I'm having anxiety, and it just I either do that or watch The Flash, and both help. So,
I'm gonna check that song out.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't heard either of those Jason Mraz songs, so I'll have to look those up.
Yeah, they're more obscure. They're not his mainstream stuff, but they're good.
Cool. Yeah. So my final question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
I think, the go-to answer is probably my mom, but also my wife, especially seeing my wife become a mom. It's been pretty amazing. And so I think those are two strong women in my life that have been heroes in my life, that I look up to both of them. And I feel really lucky to have them in my life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, my superheroes are definitely my mom and my sister, because they're just my best friends. And then I also think you're a superhero.
Oh, thank you.
So just I can't say it enough. I just love everything you do, and
thank you.
Your work has just helped me through so much. So I've been trying not to cry this whole time.
You can cry.
Okay, thank you.
You're allowed to cry. Nothing wrong with crying.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
A lot to me. And it's been really nice to talk to you.
You too. This has been a dream come true. Now I am starting to cry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
You're gonna make me cry.
This has just been a dream come true. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for spending so much time with us. Thank you for doing such incredible work that has been so meaningful to so many kids, so many patients, so many families. We are grateful. If you are ever find yourself in Colorado, come on by the Seacrest studio here at the hospital. I know there's plenty of people that would love to meet you, but thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you. And I can't wait for the new season of The Flash.
Thanks. It's coming.
Yes, I'm excited, but I'm also very sad.
Well, enjoy the last season.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.